Well, welcome back into the garden here in mid-Norfolk. It's almost the end of April now and pear blossom really is in full force. A lot of the spring bulbs just about finished for the year, but we've still got quite a good flush here in the old orchard. But what is really coming on are these bluebells, really starting to give us a beautiful effect here, particularly where they're just catching the afternoon sun here under this pear tree. You can see this naturalised planting here contains a combination of bluebells and some pink bells. Very little in the way of white bells here. It was interesting, I visited Crystal Palace over the weekend, walked around the park, and the dominant flower type down there is the white bell. But this is a lovely naturalised in grass, self-seeded, gradually, just look at them spreading out here as you'd expect them to into the orchard. And the way we manage this is very simple. Allow all these bulbs to naturally die back and not cut this meadow until usually end of July, beginning of August. We don't feed it at all. Did make the mistake of doing that one year, and wow, was it hard work as a result cutting this hay off this area. But it's quite a unfertile soil under this. It's a compacted old driveway, we think, or tennis court. Don't really know the history of this little bit of land, but very little does very much here, and the fruit trees that we've planted have really struggled. So it's a great place for spring bulbs. It's about the best you can make of it. The earliest three azaleas are just coming out here. I don't know the variety, they struggle on this bank. It really was not a good decision planting these things here. Got a lot of this perennial weed, butterbur is it? This big broadleaf that we're trying to reduce. Have dug it out in certain places, but it's coming back from the ditch behind here and giving these azaleas a real run for their money. Not just from the lower part, but also with them being on a raised bank, keeping these roots moist during the last couple of years has been a real difficulty. Hello, Lara. We're doing some weeding here this afternoon, and there's plenty of that to be getting on with these borders. We're top dressed earlier this season with some mushroom compost, and that's really made the job a lot easier, but there's a lot of the borders I just haven't reached yet, and as a consequence we're getting big truckloads of grass and giant hogweed. Do not eat that, girl. This is something you really need to be careful with in a garden. It's got a nasty sap on it, and I've made the mistake a couple of times of pulling this barehanded, and as a consequence getting a really nasty skin rash. It is something to be aware of. Keep away from myself and keep this crazy Weimaraner out of it. Oi! Stop that. She's having a salad crop from the grass, which she knows no better than to have a go at, so I'm going to go and get this lot in the compost to eat before she does herself some damage. These little primroses, we moved here only a couple of weeks ago, just healed them in by cutting the surface of the turf with a spade and really just pushing the roots into the ground and healing it over. And it's been so wet that they've done really, really well and established themselves beautifully. Flowering away this year, you can see they're not the happiest of primroses, yellowing off a little bit, but not a half bad show along here considering these were all just moved in this year. First of the apple blossoms just breaking out here now. Beautiful colour. Really will give us a fantastic display after the pear blossoms finished later in May, I guess, this year. Now this is our main block of bluebells in the garden, situated under an extremely massive and old oak tree, so this area is parched dry woodland for the majority of the year. It doesn't get enough light or moisture for anything else to flourish here other than the bluebells, and just look at them coming on here. We've allowed the cow parsley to come through. There's a little bit of sticky weed that I really want to get out. There we are. I'm going to pull this because that will just completely thug itself over the top of the bluebells and ruin the display. It's a shady area here. There's an ivy hedge. Just let me show you behind this on the boundary with the lane. The sun is in the south behind that, so this is shady even at the highest arc of the sun in April. It allows these to come up very, very slowly. You can see they're probably a week behind the ones we started this video on under that pear tree. but the display here with the moist ground at this time of year will be just spectacular. Mainly bluebells, a little sprinkling of pink bells just in the distance there, a little bit of annual forget-me-not just creeping in as well, which we'll leave. It's lovely. We've also planted, again in the forefront, this primrose. It should still, most years, keep flowering into May, giving you that lovely foreground contrast with the light yellow of the primrose and a big bank behind it from the house of these beautiful dark English natural bluebells. I'll show you it in a couple of weeks when it's fully out. Thanks for watching.